Hello. Today I'm talking about the Sodder children disappearance. So at 1:30 a.m. on Christmas Day, a house fire started in the Sodder family home, and it started burning very rapidly. They sent their daughter Marion Sodder to run after the fire department after getting out of the first floor. There were three kids in total with them, with the parents who escaped the first floor. Actually four with Marion there. And their other kid was, a grown adult. His name was Joe, and he was out fighting in World War II. So remaining were five kids in the upper floor. So once they'd escaped, they were worried about the five kids, and they needed to, so they prioritized saving them. Meanwhile, Marion ran over to call for the fire department, but for some reason the phone line wasn't working. And then because of that, they weren't able to call the fire department very quickly or efficiently. So the parents tried to save their kids, but then the ladder that they usually have hanging up next to the house was gone. And their trucks that they would have used to reach the windows were also just not functioning properly. So they wait in desperation, and not a lot gets done. And then the house just fully burns down. A coroner's inquest happens, and they rule that the five children died, although weren't any body parts found or any remnants of them at all. They just, in my opinion, jumped to conclusions and ruled that they were dead, even though there was no evidence of them anywhere. The parents took issue with this, George and Jenny Sodder, and they decided to start a campaign of looking for their kids because they suspected they were kidnapped or they ran away something, but they were concerned and they didn't believe that they were dead. This all happened in Fayetteville, West Virginia, by the way. Okay, so they insist that their kids are still alive, and they started paying to put up billboards around their area. Now, the potential suspects are someone referred to as the Gatewood Man. So turns out, remember how I mentioned the phone line wasn't working and the ladder was missing? Apparently, there was a man who during the fire, tried to steal one of their, one of George, one of George's truck tools, and because he runs a trucking company, and he tried to steal one of his truck tools during the fire, but he insisted to police that he didn't start the fire. He was just trying to take advantage of the situation and take the tool, but he didn't have anything to do with it, according to him. And he saw this big long line hanging from a pole, and he assumed it was an electrical line. So he tried to help by stopping the fire, assuming it was an electrical fire, by cutting the line. But it turns out it was a phone line, and he used the ladder to get up there to do it. So that's a very suspicious thing, and he is a suspect for that reason. Another person is bank manager Janatulo. Now, his full name is Cleto Gross Janatulo. Now, he has potential mob connections. He sort of runs the neighborhood, and he has a very contentious relationship with George Sodder because George Sodder, it's a very Italian neighborhood, and everyone there, for the most part, supported Benito Mussolini and his rule of Italy at the time. But George didn't like that, and he was a very outspoken uh, opposer to Mussolini. So not a lot of the people in the neighborhood liked him for that reason. And also, John Atullo sent an insurance agent over to talk to George one time, saying that he should take out um insurance accounts for his kids, and he refused. And the insurance agent went back to Janatulo and told him that that's what happened. And he got incredibly angry. And he literally went up to George Sodder and said, and I quote, "Your goddamn house is going to go up in smoke and your children are going to be destroyed." He said that to him. So he's definitely a suspect as well. Um, he covered, so back after the fire happened, George covered the area with dirt to turn into a memorial area. But then he decided to get a group of volunteers to dig it up and look for more evidence in case they could find more. And they found four vertebrae. They sent it over to Smithsonian to check it out, and they said it looked like it could belong to a boy of around 14, so it might align with one of the kids, but it's sort of inconclusive, and it could have just been in the dirt before like the dirt that was in a different place before he brought it over to the site. So that's pretty inconclusive. Then we have eyewitnesses who, there were a lot of eyewitness reports, but mainly the important eyewitnesses are the ones that saw some Italian adults traveling westward from their house after the time of the fire. Some Italian adults checking in with kids into a Charleston motel, and in between those two places, some Italian adults taking the kids to a diner in between the two locations. Um, then the parents received a letter from they received a letter one day, and it was an image of their child Lewis, but he looked like a 30-year-old man because it had been many, many years. So that concerned them, and they turned it over, and it had a number on it, A900132 or 35. It said on it. So that might be an address. Who knows? But they they were very concerned about that, so they sent out an investigator to check that out. The investigator disappeared, so who knows if he ran away with the money or the mob got to him from Janatulo. But they sent another investigator after him, and apparently it is an address from the a city in Italy called Palermo, and that happens to be where a specific mob organization is based in, and it's the same one that Janatulo is suspected to be connected with. And the whole situation is riddled with suspicion because of Janatulo also being on the coroner inquest jury that ruled that they were dead in the first place, and the chief of firefighter of the fire department, the fact that he told the parents that he found remains of the kids and then buried it behind the fire department, and then they went and looked for it, and it turned out to just be like a beef liver thing, not even a human remains. So that is a suspicious lie that he made. And then, so overall, the popular theories are that the kids either died in a fire, Gatewood man started the Gatewood man started the fire to steal the truck part. Janatulo kidnapped the kids as he said he would, or the kids ran away. I'm of the opinion of number three, that Janatulo did it, because it's just so incredibly suspicious that he lines up with that administrative suspicious activity with the fire department chief, his potential ties to the Palermo mob, the fact that there's so many eyewitnesses seeing Italian adults traveling with them like the mob kidnapped them, and the fact that he literally said himself that he would do exactly this. Thank you very much. Be well.